Okay, hi everybody. I'm Dr. Melissa and welcome to Take Charge of Your Health. Simple things you can do today to take control of your physical and mental health. And today with me I have my friend Vanessa Raymond. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you, Melissa. Hi.
She is an expert in professional performer, fitness expert, and she has learned to help you can have a better body image and self-image with this. And so that's how we're going to tie that into mental and physical wellness today. So Vanessa, tell me how you got started as a performer.
Well, actually, I started ballet when I was 3 years old. And ever since then, whenever anybody asked me, what do I want to be when I grow up? All I wanted to be was a dancer. So, but as I went through my years, I also, played the piano and I sang and I did all that. So when it got time to go to college, I really wanted to be in musical theater. So I ended up majoring in musical theater in college and went on to perform professionally for quite a few years.
That's wonderful.
That was kind of my journey to the performance industry in a nutshell.
That's great. So performing, so as a performer, you probably have to have, pretty good physical health and pretty good mental health in order to stay on top of things. Can you talk a little bit about how you had to have the right mental health or mental wellness in order to be a performer?
Absolutely. So mental health, of course, as you know, affects everything that we do. And I think in the world of the performing arts, it's particularly important because you get shut down and so much, like audition after audition after audition. It's very rare that you get into a show or get a gig right away. It happens. It happened for me, but there's so many times that you go from audition to audition to audition and you get criticized and you don't get cast, and you have to learn how to pick yourself up and do it again and again and again. And so it was a really good lesson for me. Also, sometimes the choreographers and the directors or whatever it is you're working with, they're not necessarily very tactful about anything. Anyone who's been through my Victory Factor course know I talk about my story where I auditioned for a show and the director called me. I was waiting for the call, and his words were, Vanessa, you danced circles around the other girls, but you got to lose those thighs. Those were his words. So, so you get that kind of lashback from people. And so aside from trying to stay physically fit and in shape, the mental part is the biggest part. Also being able to walk into an audition and stand in front of a panel of judges and have that self-confidence to be able to do all that under pressure.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So in that particular case, so that affects your mental image and your mental wellness. How can you overcome that so that you don't let what others say affect you?
Of course, Melissa, as you know, it's way easier said than done. There's so many things we can say, but in the end, it is really about standing in your own power and understanding that a lot of these things are subjective. It's someone else's view and it's not necessarily true. And we have to remember that we shouldn't take everything at face value. And so personally, I'm talking specifically in that realm too, because that's what we're talking about right now. In the beginning, it did affect me very deeply, but I had the sense and the support. I was very lucky. I have a very supportive family to understand that, that person is looking for something specific. And the fact that I did not match that specific picture doesn't make me any less. It just makes that I didn't match that specific image that they wanted. Doesn't mean I'm not good at what I do and I'm worthless and I'm, so if they wanted a blonde with blue eyes and long legs, that's definitely not me. You know what I mean? So we have to learn to remove ourselves a step from comments or things that other people say, and understand also that sometimes people project their own insecurities onto others.
Absolutely. That's very well said, and it's definitely easier said than done.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you a tough question. Can you give us maybe some examples of how to overcome some of those things? Maybe some things that we might be able to work in and really, be able to put that, even though it's somebody else's, image that they want, but be able to really embrace our own image. And how did you overcome that?
Well, it took time, and it takes time. You have to love you. You have to be patient with yourself first. In order to love yourself, you have to find patience for yourself. So really, I think an awareness of the fact that that happens, and having that knowledge, you can kind of, initially you might react in a certain way, but you can step back and go, okay, let's assess that. And I think it's very important to take time to go over it for yourself and go, okay, so what that person said, why did they say that? And is it really got to do with me and who I am as a person? Or is it their problem, their insecurity? Or is it something, like I said, in this instance, they were looking for a specific image and I just didn't fit that image? But that doesn't make me less worthy. It doesn't make me less of a person. And I think just that awareness is a huge part of that. And then on the other end of things, in general life situations, when these type of moments come up for me, my mom is a very, knowledgeable woman. And she always used to say to me, Vanessa, you have to, and now I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. But basically it comes back to, you have to remember who you are, and that who you are from the inside is what other people are going to see. A lot of people judge us by the book's cover, right? But how many people have you met in your life that the better you get to know them, the more beautiful they become to you? Because that is how we are perceived by people. We are perceived by people for who we are, not what we look like. And in the end, it really is about remembering that, oh, that's what I wanted to say. Giving a lot of what we want to receive. So if I feel like I need more compassion, or I need more love, or I need more happiness, I give more of that. And that really provides those things for me. It's like a energy thing that just happens. And that's what my mom always said to me. Remember to give more of what you want in life.
Oh, I love that. That's your mom, very wise woman. Very wise.
Wise is the word I was looking for. You're right.
Very, very wise. So yes, because that makes a huge difference, and so if we can subconsciously remember that's great. So you also do encourage with your program about body confidence. So let's talk a little bit about what is body confidence and what does that look like for somebody?
Well, Melissa, the thing is that in today's day and age, there's so much emphasis on the physical, on what you're supposed to look like, or what the image is, or how much you should weigh, or what you should wear, or how you should wear your hair, whatever. It comes back to what I said before. What we project as human beings in energy really is how other people see us. And so my program, The Victory Factor, I work with women on posture and body language, because the way we show up and the way we present ourselves, regardless of what the cover looks like, that is what projects to people. And that is what makes you approachable. That is what makes you beautiful. That is what makes you that energy that you give out. And also, I talk in my program about how the physical and the mental emotional work together, because if you need an uplift mentally or emotionally, if you know how to do that with your body connects with your brain, excretes those hormones, the endorphins and all that stuff that you need to feel better, and vice versa. So there's a really, really close connection. And I'm not talking about exercise. I'm talking about just how you carry your body. And that can really change how you feel inside and vice versa.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that is so true. I mean, just even me, I'm sitting up straight, versus just hunched over but we get into that where it's like, okay, we're hunched over our computer all day long, and then we get up and then it's tough to walk or whatever. But yeah, I love that. A lot of it is just how your posture is and how you project yourself. And absolutely, you can't judge a book by its cover. It's definitely.
Exactly. And with the posture and body language thing, if you feel confident in knowing how you're carrying yourself, so it's kind of like practicing how to do that. And it's one of those things, it's like riding a bicycle. I'm not saying sit up straight in front of the television like this and watch TV, but what I'm saying is if you've practiced these things in your body and the muscles are conditioned to understand where that body is in space and how it makes you feel, it's something you can conjure up when you need it. If you're going into a meeting, you're going to a first date, you're going to an interview, if you know how to do that and you've practiced it, you can do it instantly.
Absolutely. So let's tie this into we've talked about some physical things, a few, and some mental, but let's tie this into the actual word health. And so when you have good body confidence or bad body confidence, how does that affect your health in general?
In every way.
Absolutely.
Our body confidence affects our mental emotional state. If you are feeling mentally, emotionally drained, tired, exhausted, it's like what I call a downward spiral. That affects the way you act. So if the natural thing to do when you're feeling drained or tired or depressed is to slouch and slump and, be sad, whatever it is you're feeling, everything in your body, it assumes that position. And that makes you feel even worse, and feeling worse and do more of that. So it's that. So I like to take it from the downward spiral to the snowball effect, or the upward spiral, where you change those habits. And to answer your question, as you know, the mental, emotional, all those hormones that go around our body can affect how we feel physically. It can cause pain, it can cause illness, it can cause diseases. But on a less deeper level, just it causes poor posture, and poor posture causes pain, and pain causes more unhappiness, and it's just a really bad cycle. So I really encourage people to try and break that cycle, because once you get into that cycle, it's tough, and it's a downhill slope. And if you can break that cycle by doing simple things in your daily rituals, and you start getting that snowball effect going for the happiness and the healthy to grow, it's life-changing.
Oh, that's wonderful. So give us a couple examples of some of those simple things we can do to get the good snowball effect going.
Well, and my number one favorite, and you probably have heard this from others before, is that lemon water first thing in the morning. If you can drink a cup with preferably warm water with a whole fresh lemon squeezed in there before you do anything in your day, just swallow that down. And of course, there's a lot of science behind that. But basically what it does is it help alkalinize the body and put it in that very good, healthy state for your day. It energizes you, and it gets your digestive system ready for food. It does a lot of wonderful things. So that is what I do in the morning, first thing. And it's so easy. It's like one of the easiest things you could be doing. And then working in some movement during your day. Our lifestyles have not been facilitating a lot of movement. And I'm not saying go and do a hectic 1-hour exercise session. I happen to love exercising. It's my other passion. Um, I'm a Pilates and a yoga instructor, and I'm a kettlebell instructor, and I do all that stuff too. So I happen to love exercise, but I know many people don't. But find something that you enjoy, whether it is to go walking in nature, whether it is to get on your bike and take off, go bowling, I don't know. Find something that forces you to move instead of just being stagnant and sitting, because energy creates energy. The more we sit around and we slump around, the less energy you will have. If you can get the energy generated, if there's that little spark, you can create more energy for yourself by creating some movement in your life.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that spark is what needs to happen. You know, it takes that spark to get the fire going when you're doing a campfire or whatever, cooking on the stove. You've got to have that spark in your life as well. So that's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about your physical fitness side, because you are, I mean, you're a performer, plus you're this physical fitness guru. I mean, you do everything. So, which, you know, for a lot of us, you know, that's one thing. You know, we may have great intentions with wanting to work out, but that's often the first thing to go when our calendar gets stacked up. So as, you know, a fitness professional, give us some, you know, insight into what we can do. And I mean, I know you talked about having fun, but talk about, you know, some things that we can pick up on that we can actually keep our physical energy up as well.
Absolutely, Melissa. Now, the thing with working out and keeping that up is that you have to see, for me, yes, of course, it's my job. But even when I have had stints in my life where I wasn't doing that as a job, for me, getting my workout in every day was as important as phoning that first client or emailing that first person. It has to become part of your schedule. You have to schedule it in, and it has to be as important. The thing, and people often ask me, so when you really don't feel like it, how do you get to the gym, or how do you get your workout? Whatever it is you're doing, whether it's a tennis match or whatever it is you scheduled for your workout, I always remember how I feel afterwards. I go, okay, if I do this, I know, because I've experienced it, how much better I'm going to feel. And instead of being mad at myself all day for not doing it, I'm going to be very happy that I did it. So, and people need to understand that you don't need to work out for an hour or for 50 minutes. 15, 20, 30 minutes can make a world of difference. It's about intensity, not time. Okay. So if you can hit it hard for 15 minutes, 3 times a week, or every day, or whatever it is you set out to do, the thing is, once you start feeling the rewards and you start seeing the rewards, it's so much easier to do it.
Oh, yeah.
In order to feel the results, you need to stick it out for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. So if you can convince yourself, if I can get through these 3 weeks and stick to my schedule, I promise it gets easier. And me, I say I'm actually addicted to working out, because when I stop, when I go on vacation and I might miss a few days, I don't sleep as well. I get restless legs. I'm fidgety. It's just, I don't feel good. And I have to get back in the gym. And so if you can get yourself to that point where you really feel the difference between, yes, this is how I feel when I work out, and this is how I feel when I don't, that is the hardest part. Is that like 3 to 4 week process. And for some people, it might be a little longer, depending on where you are health-wise. But little things you can do. Some of my clients that are really not motivated, I would say, well, if you're watching television, every time an ad comes up, instead of just sitting there watching the ad or going to grab a drink out of the fridge, do a few sit-ups or do a few push-ups. Or, there's like these signature exercises that you can do at home to hold a plank for the whole of the advert. And so also with my posture work, I'm like, find times. My cue to remember my posture is when I'm sitting at a red light in my car. That's my cue. Oh, every time I see a red light, I'm like, okay, it's like NLP, right?
Yes.
It's like Pavlov's dogs. I see a red light, I straighten up. So if you can, if you can find those little things in your life that become those moments for you that are part of your lifestyle, it becomes a lot easier than having to get dressed, pack up your bags, and get to the gym. And, I know how hard that can be. As a mother and a full-time working person, I'm grateful that part of my job is working out because I don't have to worry about it later in the day. That can be a real challenge, but I've been there. And the way to do that is to really remind yourself the benefits and how good you're going to feel, not only about your body. So I said, it's not only just about how you're going to feel physically about doing your workout, but also about how good you're going to feel mentally and emotionally about having the tenacity to show up and get there and do it and see it through.
Oh, that's wonderful advice. And that's it, how are you going to feel at the end and getting it done? And just, that few short minutes is going to make a difference. And I love that you don't have to necessarily go change clothes to do something, get it done, do it on that break that you have. I love it on, on a advertisement commercial. That's wonderful advice. So Vanessa has a special offer for us today, and so we're going to talk about what she's going to be giving you, and then there's going to be a link across the top that'll say "Take Charge of Your Health" /Vanessa that'll link you to this, and she is going to give you forgot what it's called. Sorry, a report. I drew a blank. A report that talks about what she does with her. V-Factor, her Victory Masterclass. So talk a little bit about that, Vanessa.
Sure. So the special report is going to give you 6 principles that you can apply to your life right now that's going to help you improve your self-confidence or your self-image. And that is really what I teach. I really teach how to come into your own, stand into your power, and understand who you are, and really to appreciate that from a perspective of everything that we talked about in the beginning, Melissa, of really knowing that what people see is what you give them. So what you project out is what people's first impression of you is going to be. And how true is that first impression that you give, and how do you achieve that? So I work with women and men. I target market women, but I've worked with a lot of men on posture and body language, and I also work on vocal image. Really being able to be congruent about how you present yourself and how you express yourself, because it all comes together. Way before we had speech, we had body language. We communicated through body language, and as you know too, a good 70% of our communication is body language. And when what comes out of your mouth that isn't congruent with what your body language is saying, people kind of go, "Oh," like, what? That felt weird, or that's something not right, or that person might be insincere. And in many cases, it isn't that the person is lying or is insincere, or maybe they're just feeling insecure, or they don't know they have habits or things that they do that's affecting the way how other people perceive them. So we go through the list, and I give you some things, and it's stuff we all know. Let me tell you now, there's nothing revolutionary about this, but it really is about heightening your awareness. And once that awareness is there, you are able to really work on these things and improve the way you present yourself in general. And in the end, how you present yourself is going to dictate how people connect with you and how people react to you. And when you're getting positive reactions from other people, that is an instant self-confidence boost. So it's kind of like that snowball effect thing that I was talking about. Yeah. If you feel confident about what you're doing and how you're presenting yourself, you feel great, you feel confident, you go out, or maybe you don't feel so great in the beginning and you kind of just still acting a little bit, figuring it out and making it your own. But what people see is that confidence, and then they respond in that way of like, oh my gosh, you look great today, or what have you done? You changed your hair, blah, blah, blah. Or it was so great to meet you. You're so approachable. We love talking to you. And that makes you feel good. And the better you feel, the more confidence you have, the more you act that way, and the more of that stuff you get. And it just blows up.
I, I love it. I love it. Such an amazing gift. Thank you. Thank you
No.
so much for being on here today, Vanessa. Um, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Remember, take charge of your health. You've learned some simple things today you can do for your physical and your mental health. And stay tuned. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Melissa.
Okay.